internet. It looked like this. Well, it was getting better, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. But hey, everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Uplift past Crossroads. You're probably watching from Justin's YouTube channel as well, on Chaplain's Logs. That's Justin Lee Howell. I'm Sean Christopher Jenkins. Thanks so much for tuning in. So, me and Justin got a treat for you guys today. If you haven't been tuning into my YouTube channel, or if you haven't been looking at my social media platforms, I've been going on a tangent just talking about forgiveness, right? Just letting you know about the forgiveness of God and stuff like that. And it all started because I saw this post. Like, it was a simple post on Instagram. This is actually on my page now. I reinvented it. But like, the post that somebody posted was just forgive them. That was it. That was the post, is forgive them. And I don't remember like if there was a photo that was going with it, or if it was just these words. By the way, the words was just this. So like, and it was talking to me, just letting me know that I need to let some stuff go. I need to let some bitterness, some hatred, some grudges, just anything that I was holding in go, because it's not good for me and it's not good for you either, right? And so, like I said, if you've been looking at my YouTube channel at all, Uplift past Crossroads, I don't know why this happened, Justin. I think I missed you. Yeah, I just mentioned it to you on the phone. But like on YouTube on Uplift past Crossroads, I did a video a day ago or 2 days ago, I don't remember. On this, I did this video talking about this post that I did and drew out, and I got it from a devotional, and it already blew up. It's at 65 views already. Like, I couldn't believe it. So thanks so much for sharing that video, guys, and make sure to keep on sharing all the videos that you're watching, especially share this one. But we got a treat for you guys today. I'm actually going to be talking about that same visual. I promise you guys that I didn't really get to break that visual down the way that I wanted to. So that's what me and Justin are about to do for this video. We're going to break down that devotional that we both read and talk about that photo. So here goes the photo. Let's talk about it real quick. So this photo, again, I came across it when I was trying to look up devotionals and look up quotes and Bible verses on forgiveness and stuff like that. And so this was the photo that, this was the illustration that was given on a devotional, and I had to draw it out myself because like I couldn't find any drawing on it, so couldn't steal it from anywhere. So I had to make up my own. But anyways, here goes the post. So it's titled "Two Wings and Six Feathers." So 2 wings and 6 feathers, and it's also titled "Flying and Forgiving." Right, flying and forgiving. And I talked about this on my video I did before, and I used this Instagram post that I posted a long time ago. I posted it on August 12th, 2013. I talked about how, like, this butterfly is in an impossible situation. Like, somehow somebody tied up a string on a caterpillar, a butterfly, right? Which I don't know how that happens without killing the butterfly. And they tied a rock on the other side of the rope so that it weighed down and kept the butterfly from flying and soaring, right? And so the post says it's hard to fly when something is weighing you down. Now, I posted that August 12th, 2013, and I'm just now like using it in videos right now. So that's the power of social media, man. That's why I like visuals and technology and stuff like that. So like with this illustration, it's talking about flying and forgiving. So you can't fly, you can't soar in this life. You can't reach new heights and new levels and conquer all these different devils if you don't let go of some things, if you don't let go of the toxic and negative things that are holding you back. And so, yeah, in order to fly, you got to forgive, right? And so, who teaches us how to forgive? Jesus did. God did. Like, he set the tone, right? And that's a scripture verse. Me and Justin are probably going to pull this out, right? So I'm just going to use it. I didn't talk about it in the last video, so I'm doing it now. So in Ephesians 4, verse 32, all the way to Ephesians 5, verse 2, it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Follow God's example, therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a flagrant offering and a sacrifice to God. Right? Now, Justin, that flagrant offering part got me at the very end. It says, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a flagrant offering and a sacrifice to God. So I'm going to break that down real quick. So like when it comes to Jesus' sacrifice, it was a sweet aroma to God. Like, it smelled good. And we talked about that with the book of Exodus in our Bible studies with a men group me and Justin were in. with our boys Jeremiah and Camden and Miles and people I went to college with, and they were my roommates in Charlotte. Like we did a whole Bible study on all the book of Exodus, and and when we were going through that, we talked about the tabernacle, and one of the furnitures, one of the things that was in the holies of holies, right, was the altar essence. And with the altar essence, it was right before the holy of holies, like where God's presence was, where the Ark of the Covenant was. I should totally show a visual of it. Like, so Justin, I'm gonna let you talk in a second so I can show that visual. But like right before you got to the holy place was uh, the burnt offering, the burnt altar offering, right? And so they had to make an offering there that smelled good. It was a sweet aroma, and it symbolized prayer. That's what it symbolized: praying to the Father before you to get to His presence, to come to His presence. You got to pray, right? It's communicating with Him, talking with Him, right? And so it's the part of fellowshipping with Him. So that's all the furnitures that are in the holy place, in the tabernacle, like literally in that place where God's presence is, and where the candles are, like the I think it was 12 candles, the table of showbread, and then the altar essence. And then the priest had to do certain things with that, with all three of those items, right? But like, yeah, so Christ, what He did on the cross, His sacrifice, like it was a pleasing aroma for God because He forgave us. Like God forgave us. He made a way for us to come to Him. So like we're gonna break down that visual, but I just wanted to share that verse with you because I titled the video "The Sweet Fragrance of Forgiveness." I'm gonna break that down a lot. So I'm gonna let Justin go ahead and take it over. I just have to give a little overview.
Yeah, man, there's like so much. You should share like the link to the devotion as well because it was a really good devotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out a good place to start. I'll just start where you were saying though about like Jesus' sacrifice. Like it's like we have to recognize that we're already like fallen beings, like we're broken beings. Like forgiveness is not part of our nature. I think the devotion had a really good put in a really good way that forgiveness for a fallen human heart is like flying for a heavy human body. Like it's not in our nature. And I think a big part of it is because we're images of God. We have a sense of justice. Like why do we get angry at things? It's when we feel like we've been there's an injustice going on, or we've been mistreated, or something like that. So that anger isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on the context as well. I won't go into that right now because man, I that's a big part I want to talk about. That was like, why are we angry? Why do we seek justice for that? But we have to recognize that we have to go against our nature because of what Jesus has done for us. Like, if everyone knows the verse, we can love because God first loved us. We can forgive others because Jesus first forgave us. He offered himself up for us. Like, why is he a sacrifice? It's because we've already done those bad things. Like, no amount of sacrifices that we make can possibly make up for all the wrongdoing that we've done in this life. Like, everyone, like, especially talking with non-religious people or non-believers, they say, well, it's fine as long as you're a good person. I don't think that cuts it. Like, I'm pretty positive like I've done more bad things without me knowing than the good things in my life. And plus that's just not how the justice system works. I use this example and I hope it doesn't get overused, but I love this example. It's like if a guy murders another guy, the judge isn't going to be like, "Oh, well, you volunteered with the local kids baseball team, so we're going to like give you some time off." No, that doesn't work. They're going to jail for life. So it's we have to be we have to when we forgive we have to remember in the context that we've already been forgiven. Like we can love because we were first loved, we can forgive because we were first forgiven. Like in the Lord's prayer, forgive us of our trespasses as we um forgive others. I just butchered that. But yeah, I'm under pressure, but you get the idea. It's
Yeah.
I'm glad like that's where Sean started off this video. Like I was looking at this devotion, and I have so much to say about it. I didn't know where to start, but yeah, we need to start with Jesus. That's the foundation of it. Our sense of forgiveness is not from our own nature. It's going to be from the Holy Spirit. And I think that's what gives us the power to be able to forgive somebody.
Right. Yeah, man, there's so much to share, but like I was saying,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll talk about the altar instance in a minute. I'll save that for later. But I want to go back to the visual. Let's just break down the visual so everybody understands it like crazy now. So like, because I didn't really talk about it too well. So just after I do the breakdown, you can tag along after. All right. So
Mhm.
um, so the it's called flying and forgiving, and so you have two wings. So a bird has two wings, right? And then they have feathers on their wings, and their feathers and their wings help them to fly, right? And so um, we have two wings and we have three feathers on each wing. So one side has three wings and then the other side has three wings. So it makes six wings total. I mean six feathers total and two wings, right? And so each feather has gives you a reason and gives you a motivation to why you need it gives you a reason to forgive other people. Like a lot of people think, why should I forgive other people? Why should I do anything for anybody and let the bitterness and resentment go or just anything like that? Because it sounds like you're not winning. Like there's a lot of another video me and Justin are gonna do is talking about the misconceptions and the lies and the myths behind forgiveness. Because like that's one of the lies. Like people think like if I forgive them, I'm justifying the wrong that they did, or like uh I'm making it okay. I'm saying it's okay that if I forgive them, right? And that's a lie, right? And so, yeah, so there's a lot of misconceptions with it. Forgiveness is for you. It's setting you free. And just like the photo I showed earlier, like you're meant to soar in this life. You can't soar if you have things weighing you down. Do you think life and you think God created you to hold on to bitterness, resentment, hatred, uh, envy, just anything like that. No, like those negative things are just gonna hold you back. That's the whole point of the photo. You can't fly and soar in this life. You got
Mhm.
things weighing you down that weren't meant to weigh you down. Like this is an impossible situation. Like a butterfly, this is unlikely. This will never happen. And that's what some of us do. We put ourselves in an impossible, unlikely situation. And this photo shows us there's no reason to do that. Why? Because God forgave you. So you're called to forgive others. So let's talk about this on the first feather, it says that God loved you with a special, personal, saving love from all eternity. So the first wing, so this first side over here, right? It's just talking about what God did for us before we existed. So God's work before you were even born. So that's all this side right here, right? And so God loved you with a special kind of love. So like He loved you with a saving type of love. I want to break that down real quick. So Justin, you can tag along with me with this one, man. So like the saving type of love. So I'm gonna take it just from the devotional, like what they were saying with that. And on the devotional, they were talking about how you know, that first feather, it talks about the love that God has for us, like a father has for their child, and how this love moved God so much to send Christ down to die for our sins, to take our place, to take our punishment, to pay the price that we should be paying, right? Because He loved us so much. This is a saving type of love. So it's not uh, it's something more than just a general love that God has for all of creation and the whole entire world. Like this is a saving type of love, right? It goes over and beyond the Call of Duty. Just like the Monica song sings, I'll cross the oceans for you. I will go and bring you the moon. I will be your hero, your friend, anything you need. Like I think that's the lyrics. But like, yeah, God's anything that you need. He'll do anything. He has a saving type of love, and he gives us more than what we deserve. Like, and we don't even deserve it. That's the whole point. Like the people who we're called to forgive, see, God asks us to forgive those who persecute us, to forgive those who do wrong to us, to even pray for our enemies, even turn the other cheek. And if they smack one cheek, turn the other one, let them smack the other one. Like, this is stupid. Like, it seems stupid. It seems illogical, right? But God's calling us to do that. Why? Because He did that for us. And He does that for us every single day of our lives. And He's done that even before we were even created. He loved us and He made a way for us. And He provided for us and He set a path for us to be saved, right? So, like, He did something that we don't even deserve. So we're called to give people stuff that they don't deserve either. Why? So that they can see God's love in this world, so that they can see the light of the world. Jesus through you, because not everybody reads the Bible. Not everybody knows the Bible. Not everybody knows. I don't know. I think it's impossible, but some people don't know who that God even exists or Jesus, is God and stuff like that, right? So like we're the living Bibles. We're the Bibles that they're going to read. We're the sermons that they're going to listen to. And actions speak louder than words ever could. So when we forgive other people, we're only showing people how good our God is, especially in the most impossible, unlikely situations. So this saving type of love, the first feather, right? uh, God has this love for us. He had this love for us, and He always will have this love for us, right? So this saving type of love does what needs to be done to get us forgiven and saved, right? So yeah, man, it's a covenant type of love. Yeah, you guys get it. But one thing I really want to say with this type of love on the first feather. So first feather was God loved you with a saving love. God has loved you with a special personal saving love from all eternity. So it's a love fixed on you personally, right? It's a love set upon you individually, right? Some people don't feel loved, right? But God loves you. Some people don't feel like you mean it. Some people are even told you'll never amount to a hill of beans. You feel like you won't ever amount to anything. You feel like you're not worthy of anything. You're inadequate and all those things. But God pursued you. God chose you. God brought you to Himself. He made a way for you, and He wants to have you, right? So you matter. Like, so if God did that for you, what do you think you're called to do for other people? And He did this despite your mistakes, but despite your sin, despite all the times you wronged Him, right? And that was just the first feather. But all the feathers are doing that, right? So just I'll let you go ahead.
And I think that's I just want to look at the wording of that too. God loved us with a special saving love before we were born. Like that's the definition of unconditional love too. A lot of times, like when someone has wronged us or like we have a hard time forgiving people, like our love or um our connection or relationship with someone depends on how we feel or how we feel treated or like how we feel about a person. But that's not unconditional love. Like God loved us before we were born. Like, can you imagine that? Before he even knew what, of course, like he knew ahead of time, but before like our characters were even shown, he loved us. So when we are loving someone else, we don't list off all the things that they've done to annoy us or done to wrong with us. Like that holds us back. That's the rock that's holding that butterfly back.
Yeah.
Real unconditional love, as well as forgiveness, which leads into it, just depends on you. It doesn't depend on what the other person has done, doesn't depend on their reaction. Like the only person that you can affect is you. I think I told Sean this as well. Like there are always going to be people who wrong you or compromise on their morals or do things the easy way. But that's not what we're called to do. It doesn't matter what other people have done. Like unconditional love and forgiveness just depends on you and your mindset. I think that's really important to remember when we're interacting with people. We can't go listing off like everything they've done wrong because think of our relationship with God and Jesus. Like we've already betrayed and betrayed God's love and trust, or we are supposed to, but somehow He still loves us. Like that's what we're called to be. Like when Jesus said, "Love your enemies," that was like, of course, we've heard of that before now, but back then it was revolutionary. It was considered naive, based on Mosaic law. Like the people who had studied under the Pharisees or the ancient texts saw, they believed like there needed to be justice and law first and foremost. But Jesus said, "But I tell you this, like to love your enemies," and that's so hard to do because honestly, again, our sense of justice, it's been mutilated. That's what the devil enjoys to do, is he takes God's creations, he takes who we're supposed to be and mutilates it. We have misplaced justice and hate on the wrong stuff a lot of times when we should have room for compassion. Now, uh, I feel like I always try to balance out my statements. That doesn't mean we don't seek out justice at times, but I think it's really hard to show in times of war. It's always easy to show, it's always easy to fight back, but it's even harder for someone to show compassion in the hardest times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Like this is good stuff, man. Like And guys, I think you guys know, like, if you've been watching me and Justin for a while, or just looking at my YouTube channel, Uplift past Crossroads, you know, like everybody, I won't even. It's not just me, like, right? Everybody goes through this, right? So
Mm.
it's not just
Yeah.
something I go through, but like we all got people we have to forgive. We all have people that have wronged us, and it's not just that. People will always wrong you in some kind of way. Like everybody, somebody's gonna offend you. Somebody's gonna do something to hurt you, right? And everybody has experienced that, and it can happen any and everywhere, right? And so for me, it's happening more than ever before in the church, in the denomination I'm under. It's happening with preachers, like people who I never thought, I never could have dreamed could ever hurt me, especially people I already knew coming in, right? And so like that's the thing, like it's people I trusted, like I thought I could trust, and then they say rumors about me. Just I didn't tell you this, like some of them saying that like they say like I hate, like some rumor I heard about me was somebody said to the people higher up in the ME church that I hate the board examiners, and I don't even know if I hate the board examiners. Like if I know the cons outweigh the pros, but I don't know if I say I hate it. Like I see the benefit of it, but not completely, not entirely. You know what I'm saying? But like that's a misconception. That's a lie. Like you didn't even talk to me about it. Like and it's
Yeah.
not just that, right? I told Justin too in the class I had the other day, like a teacher critiqued my sermon that I made, and it was a 15-minute video, but she only watched 9 minutes of it or eight. Like I was heated because like the most important part, most important, the whole point of the video was at the end, and she didn't even watch it to the end. So
Mm.
like for me, I had so much. Oh, I was so angry last week. That's why I did.
See?
What you say?
Does she watch your videos? I hope she doesn't watch this.
I doubt it, but yeah, it's because she's new. I don't know who she is. Like she don't know who I am, but like yeah, man, like it's just so much stuff. But like God was telling, I just went like to my throne room. I mean, yeah, I went to yeah, I guess you can call it that. I went to my closet just to spend time with God and just to hear what He has to say about forgiveness. You know, bitterness, grudges, all this stuff, man. And like this is where we came to. Like you know, we came to this visual right here. Let me go back to it so you guys can see it. But this visual right here, like, and I'm gonna make it bigger because that is really tiny for you guys. But yeah, the visual of 2 wings and 6 feathers. So the next feather was Christ gave himself for you as a sacrifice. His son gave his life for you, took the place of your judgment. And yeah, I'm gonna break that one down real quick because that's the last one I'm really gonna break down. Everything else is pretty straightforward, but I want to use a scripture verse. I used a scripture verse earlier to break that one down. It was Ephesians 4:32 all the way to 5 verse 2. It says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." Follow God's example, therefore, right? That's the key.
Mm.
We're called to follow God's example. What was the example that God said, therefore? As dearly loved children and walk in the way of love. Walk in the way of love. Show love to other people. Give people the love that they don't deserve, just like God gave us the love that we don't deserve. Just and we're gonna talk about that like crazy with the other feathers, right? It's gonna bring everything home. Like just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a flagrant offering and sacrifice to God. So Christ gave himself up for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God. Like that's the key part right there, right? When we see like in other parts of the Bible, like in Ephesians 2, verse 3, it says, we are all by nature children of wrath, right? We're all sinners. Nobody's exempt from that. Only one man was perfect in the Bible. Only one man was perfect in all of history, and that was Jesus. Everybody else,
Mm.
we all messed up. We all have something to pay, right? But Jesus paid the price if you accept him as your Lord and Savior, right? So we all deserve to perish and be punished in hell for the sins and the thoughts and imaginations, you know, the thought, words, and deeds, attitudes, you name it, that we all have done in some kind of way. Like Justin said earlier, we sin and we don't even know we're sinning. We're messing up and we don't even know we're messing up, right? But still, Jesus and his covenant love, God and his covenant love, moved himself to do something for us, right? And to give us his son, right? Christ gave himself up for us. He took our place so we don't perish. He became a curse for us, right? So he was willing to pay the price for us, right? So that's the thing. When we're forgiving other people, we're only doing what God has done for us, right? We're we're saying it's okay, right? It's not okay. Actually, you're not even saying it's okay when you forgive somebody. You're not even saying in and you're not even trying to make right what the other person did. All you're doing is moving past the situation, right? And in so many scripture verses like it, but me and Justin, we talked about 1 Corinthians 13 before on my YouTube channel. And the main part of 1 Corinthians 13 that relates to this is like when it says, love keeps no record of wrongs, right? How many of us keep records of wrongs that other people have done to us? Even like with Peter. Like Peter asked Jesus one time, and we're just going to do a video on this too with this series, forgive them series. Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive somebody if they wrong me? Should I forgive them 7 times? Because that's more than most people would do. And Jesus said, no, 70 times 7. And I think just with that number, do the math on that. That's more times than anybody could ever offend you, unless that's like your child or somebody you really love, right? Ain't nobody gonna be around you that much. So like, so, but like, we're still called to show unconditional love, undeserved love, unmerited favor to everybody we encounter, right? Jesus even went as far to say, love your enemies, right? Because Christ did this for everybody. But that's the whole point. Like, he did it for everybody, but not everybody accepts it. So not everybody receives the forgiveness and the mercy and the grace and just the freeness that Jesus can give to everybody, right? Because that's another thing too. Somebody asked me a great question, Justin, with all the tweets I've been tweeting on forgiveness. They said, "What if the?" I'm gonna find a tweet while you talk. But they said, "What if the person that I need to forgive is myself?" Right?
Oh,
So I'm gonna let you talk. Let me find that question, and we should totally answer that. But that should be a separate video too.
that's a good one. I like that. I'll hold
Yeah,
off on that one.
yeah.
But yeah, I think like a big part I wanted to address as well was one thing related to, I think, the first wing was like what is forgiveness, and like a big part of it was resisting revenge, I think. And like when Sean shared that to me, I was going back to like a lot of like, well, what we today kind of try to do when we seek justice. And like I think there's a big difference between what justice is versus revenge. Like revenge is definitely in the most simple terms, revenge is kind of like saying, well, if they did this to me, I should be allowed to do it too. And I was looking back on like all this media, like TV shows and movies, like one kingdom or one country might have like killed a king over there, so then the ranks of the other country kill their king. Well, then the other side goes back and like kills their prince, and it's just like a vicious cycle you don't escape. Like if you take I think it was Gandhi was saying like, if you take an eye for an eye, then half the world will be blind. And I think forgiveness is really the only thing that can stop a huge cycle of revenge. Because I think a lot of times we use the word for justice as an excuse just to get back at people that we don't like or get back at people that we're angry about.
Yeah.
And again, I think we do need to implement justice into our systems in our society, but it has to be in the realms of what has been decided. What are the agreed upon laws or instances of that? If we decide to take action into our own hands without consideration of what is just or what is fair, like that's revenge. We're basically saying, well, since they did this to me, it's only fair that I do it to them as well, which is like a terrible idea because at that point, again, that's the rock holding the butterfly down. That person, the person who is like started it, is living rent free in your mind. They're holding you back. They're occupying your thoughts. They're keeping you from being who you're meant to be, and instead replacing thoughts of revenge or things that shoot they might not even remember anymore. But real forgiveness is releasing someone from that responsibility of your anger, of your revenge. And I think that's when I say that, like it's so much easier to say than to do. Because when you feel wronged, like you want justice, you want a balance. But sometimes, like honestly, in this world, sometimes you just won't get that justice. You won't get that balance. Man, uh I remember doing some videos with Sean way back when, like George Floyd, like when the Black Lives Matter movement was really picking up speed. It's like you kind of recognize that sometimes you won't get justice all the time. But I think a big part of forgiveness is not necessarily making sure everything is even or everything is balanced. It's relieving yourself from that cycle so you can concentrate on your own life. So you can pick yourself up and keep moving forward, because man, sometimes things are just going to keep moving forward with or without you. The best thing you can do is like not fall behind, not let those thoughts like occupy what's really important. And plus, uh, I'm hesitant to like say everything I wanted to while Sean is looking this up. But sometimes, like once you get revenge, like it doesn't even make you feel better. Like for a while, that again, like the big part of like why you should forgive is sometimes um, not even for the other person. It's for you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's why God wants us to forgive is so like we don't waste our time with like thoughts of revenge, because that can consume you. And then when you get it, it's like, is that it? Is it worth it? And usually it's like, no, it doesn't make you feel better, like at all. You're just like angry and upset, and now you just made another person angry and upset.
Right.
So that's all I'll say for that. Now you said something that I thought would be an awesome thing. I think you're looking it up now, so I'll stop talking now and let you pull that up.
You talking about the question? You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we need to save this for another video, because like it's so deep. Like, and honestly, I need to think about the
Oh
answer.
yeah, yeah.
Like, so I tweeted this. I said, you can't expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive, right? And that's the thing, guys. Like, so many people, what did Jesus say? That's the Lord's Prayer, guys. The Lord's Prayer freaking says, like, um, forgive us of our Jesus said, this is how you pray. Whoever he was talking to, the disciples, he said, I'm going to show you how to pray. This is how you pray. You know, and one of the things he said in his prayer that we should pray every single day in the Lord's Prayer. That's what it's called. He said we should forgive those who trespass against us, right? And like, no, it says help us to forgive those who trespass against us and all that stuff. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Like, people are going to trespass against you, but we even have to ask God for forgiveness. That's what we're doing in the Lord's Prayer. I can't remember it at this moment for some reason, and I say it all the time. But like, you get what I'm saying, guys. Like, in the most important prayer ever, Jesus mentioned like we're asking for God's forgiveness, but we have to also forgive other people if we're expecting God's forgiveness, right? And so the tweet said, you know, you can't expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive. And that's literally what Jesus said in the Bible in multiple places, multiple parables. Me and Justin are going to say that for the series, but in that tweet, somebody asked me, you know, even if the person you can't forgive is yourself, like, and that is so crazy because, like, Justin just said it. Like, you know, when it came to holding on to the wrong things, you have to let it go. Like, so many people are expecting an apology from somebody. Like, I can tell you right now, like Justin, in the next video we're gonna do, me and Justin, we're about to do a video on. I don't remember what we're doing a video on again, Justin. I gotta look up what the video was. The next video me and Justin are gonna do is on. I gotta look. I'm trying to find it. I put it in so many places now I can't find it.
Oh yeah, which one was it?
Yeah, how do you know when you fully forgiven somebody, right?
Oh yeah.
So for me, like, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of. I'm not a forgiving person, so that's a question. That's the first question. Are you a forgiving person? So when somebody wrongs you, the question is, how do you get through it? How do you forgive? Because does everybody forgive the same exact way? Because there are some very forgiving people. There's some people who just can. I mean, God bless you. Like, you're ridiculous, but they can have anybody wrong them. Like, Jesus is a good example. Jesus can have anybody wrong them and still love them. Like, I'm not Jesus. If somebody wrongs me, like, I'm Kobe Bean Bryant. I'm just like, I got the Mamba mentality. Like, I love to prove people wrong. I love to come at people. Like, not like that, but like just in a way, like, I let my success talk for me. So all the people that doubted me, treated me wrong and stuff like that, I'm gonna just be glowing and shining. And I'm not gonna say it, but like my actions and what I'm doing is gonna speak for itself, right? So I'm getting back at you, just with me moving on. So like that can be forgiveness in one sense, but it's deeper than that, right? So like, how do you know when you fully forgiven someone? We're gonna talk about that, but I forgot where I was going at with that, Justin. Um, but yeah, like forgiveness is different for everybody. It looks different for everybody, and so we all have to figure out like what does that look like for us and how can I get over this situation, because we can't keep on living in the past. I said that in the past video. Like that's the biggest thing when God says forgive people, that's what he's talking about. Like stop living in the past. Stop reliving and rehashing that situation. Stop thinking about it, right? Because you're gonna think about it. That's the thing. Like we're sinners, right? So if you keep on thinking about bad thoughts and that bad situation that's happening to you, like you have to forgive every single time, right? That's the thing, because forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a process. It's an everyday thing. It can be, right? Because some people have been wrong in awful ways. If I was a girl and my father raped me, like that's something different, right? That you don't just forgive, like it's something deeper, right? Than just that. And that's hard to get over, right? So certain people are in different situations and there's different levels to forgiveness. You guys get what I'm saying? But that's the whole point. Like, what debt has God forgiven you for? Like, what's the worst sin you ever committed? Right? Because nobody is perfect. Like, what's the worst thing you did to another human being? Like, and God forgave you for that. So, and you want forgiveness for that. So, what makes you think you should be withholding it for somebody else? Right? So we're all called to forgive no matter what. That's the key. And some people think like that's another misconception. They think some sins should not be forgiven, right? Some sins are just too wrong, and like no, like good examples like the shootings that's been happening. Like that's a deep topic, like so. But that's what God did. He paid the price. So I want to go back to the photo unless Justin, you have something else you want to add.
Yeah, I think that's I feel like you touched on it really well too, is you have to see. I feel like this applies to like how you should see everybody, but including yourself. You should see yourself through the lens of God. Like if you ask for forgiveness, like Jesus has already paid for our sins. Like we're washed as white as snow. We can't let, just like how we can't let the wrongs of other people on us hold us back, we can't let our past actions hold us back as well. Like it's always good to remember them, but like only as reference or only as lessons. We can't allow, kind of like a rear view mirror in a car. Like it's always good to like keep it in sight, like see what's behind you, but like keep it behind you. You don't like look in the rearview mirror while you're driving the whole time. You're looking forward the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I need to save that one. But it's and it's again, it's like so easy to say stuff like that. But
Right.
like I'm so bad at doing that myself. But like if you're trying to move forward, like you have to forgive yourself. You're always going to be your own worst critic. And I think that's good to be critical of yourself. Like that's how you grow. That's how you figure out what your weaknesses are. That's how you figure out what your limits are. But we don't find out our weaknesses and limits to continue to limit us. We
Mm.
use it so we can become stronger, so we can become more Christ-like.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like the best way I can think of that's always helped me, or when I'm interacting with my wife or my friends, is to see them, to see myself through like God's lens. And I know I'm wonderfully and lovingly made. Like I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do things I'm ashamed of. Gosh, I have this sounds weird. I have so many friends who have like been to jail, who've served time, who've done rather unspeakable things I'm not going to name. Just because I don't want to pick them pick at them like that, but like I see them doing amazing things, and like if I didn't know that they'd done that before, like I'd be astounded that they're able to um do amazing things for the kingdom of God. And so we have to remember that a big part of forgiving ourselves, a big part, like at least how it differentiates how we forgive others, is that we don't want to hold ourselves back from what God wants us to do. Like if we have to remember, like look at the people in the Bible. That's such an influence to me is to know that God used ordinary people who like messed up all the time. Watching The Chosen. Sean, do you watch The Chosen? I'm pretty sure you said you did.
No, not yet. But it's on Amazon Prime now, so I'm about to.
Oh yeah, you need to. Gosh, it's so good. But the what I love about that is it humanizes the disciples and the people, and it actually does make it crazy to think that people just dropped what they're doing and decided to follow Jesus. Like I probably wouldn't. There's one guy who did not, and I connected with him a lot because that it is crazy to like start following a man who claims he's a Messiah. But like the amazing part of that show, sorry, I got off track. The amazing part of that show is like it does humanize people. It makes you realize you are just like them. You are just like the people in the Bible. Like these people, like even like the people in the Old Testament who directly talk to God, like Moses and David, they heard from God, but they still like messed up all the time. So if they're allowed to mess up and they still had, as the Bible said, um, hearts after God, or like the blessings of God, like how much more do you have? Like you haven't seen Jesus or seen God, yet you believe. Like that's amazing faith right there. Like you should commend yourself for watching this video right now, because we live in a time where we didn't get to see Jesus, but we still chose to follow him. And the fact that you chose to follow Jesus, that you ask for forgiveness for him, that you repent, should, gosh, you've already done what you need to do. Like you've already been forgiven. Like Jesus isn't holding it against you. Why should you?
Yeah. Man, it's so much but like I was telling you guys, like I've been going on tangent, just posting stuff on forgiveness, right? So
Mm.
forgive them, right? Like I just posted this yesterday. I posted this yesterday. All right, I'm gonna go to all my stuff, man. Like, let me just share some stuff with you. Like this, these tweets right here are just talking about forgiveness. Like that's it. Like, and then I got another set of tweets that are talking about showing grace to other people. Like, show people the grace that God's showing you. And yeah, let's see what this one is. I think this one is showing people grace that God's showing you. So one of the tweets I said was, "You can't expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive." You guys already seen that. Grace is given to be given, right? That's the key, right? God doesn't show you his love and then you're supposed to hold it to yourself, right? That's really prideful and really arrogant to think that God's love's just for me. Forget everybody else. I don't have to show it to nobody. You know, this forgiveness is hard, right? God did the hard thing. He didn't do the easy thing. Think about Jesus. Like, he shouldn't even talk to any Pharisee. And Nicodemus was a freaking Pharisee, right? Like, and he still answered Nicodemus' questions. He still fed Judas with the disciples. He still let Judas eat with the disciples, and he knew Judas was going to betray him. He still showed Judas the same treatment as he showed the other disciples. Like, he didn't show favoritism. God doesn't show favoritism. He doesn't treat anybody better than anybody. Like, no, like he shows favor to all his children. He treats all of us like heirs to the throne. That's one of the feathers in the on the flying in forgiveness photo that me and Justin are showing you, that visual. Another one of the tweets I tweeted was, when you're not forgiving of others, you're setting yourself up to not be forgiving yourself, because God says you're going to need forgiveness in the future, right? Those are so many scripture verses. I don't want to spoil it yet. I'll just let you think about it, right? You won't give grace to others until you know the grace that God gives to you. So that's, you know what, guys? I'm going to stop there. Because, guys, like a mark of an unbeliever, a mark of somebody who doesn't know God is somebody who can't forgive, right? Because it's a scripture verse. It says, Justin, help me out. It says, like, to those who forgive much have been forgiven much. And to those who have been forgiven little, forgive little. So the closer you are to God, the more you know how jacked up you are, right? If you don't think you're jacked up, see, that's the thing. When I was a kid, anytime the pastor and my dad, because my dad's a pastor, anytime he said, like, you're a sinner, you make mistakes. When I was a kid, what mistakes did I make? Like, so I was like, I haven't made any. I'm not a sinner. I'm not that bad, right? But like, since I've gotten to know God, since the closer you get to God, the more you figure out how holy he is and how you don't touch that at all, right? So you know you can't talk about anybody, right? Because even you mess up. And if you don't think that way, that just shows you how far away you are from God, right? So the ultimate way God shows us grace is by forgiveness. So the ultimate way he asks us to show grace to other people is by forgiving them, right? And if we refuse to forgive someone else, we are really withholding from another the grace that has already been shown to us. In what sense does that make? Right? And me and Justin are gonna do a video on this. I didn't want to spoil it, but God keep on. I feel like the Spirit's just like telling me to say it, say it, say it. Like, but I'm not gonna read it. It's the parable of the unmerciful servant, right? Jesus told this parable about a servant who he owed a lot of money to his master, right? And his master called him in and said, I need the money now. And he said, I don't have the money. Can you give me more time to give it to you? And the master let him go. He said, don't worry about paying it. You're good. What? And then the same servant that was forgiven much, guys, he went to his servant who owed him money, put him up on a wall and said, give him my money, right? Give him my money. And then his servant saw that. But the servants of the servant saw how he was treating this servant that owed him money. And they knew what happened with the big master. So they went to the big master and told him what this servant was doing. Because the servant didn't just put him up on a wall and say, give me my money. No, he threw that same servant into prison until the man paid off his debt. So the master got word of this, called in that same servant he let go of his debt, and he threw him into prison and tortured him, right? And so the key with that parable is you're only making yourself worse off. You're making yourself worse off than what you are now if you don't forgive, right? Because Justin said it earlier, if you don't forgive, you're only hurting yourself. You're not doing anything to the other person, right? The funny thing is the other person probably don't even remember what happened. They probably don't even care. They probably didn't even know it happened, right? That's the biggest thing with me. Like, well, all the preachers that have offended me in the Emmy church, like, I don't think they know. Like, man, y'all are messed up, like, but like, and the anger I got towards them, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm only hurting myself if I hold on to it. Like, you gotta let some things go, right? You can't hold on to everything in this life. And that was another photo I posted on Instagram a long time ago. I'm throwing everything at you guys, man. I really am. Like, another one of the Instagram photos I had was this, man. It said, this is what happened when you hold grudges and you have resentment towards people. So I posted this on March 20th, 2019. It says, sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go.
Man,
right?
I like how you just have like you have a post for everything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been holding back, man. Like, I can't wait to like just do a videos on my Instagram posts instead of like sharing 4 of them in one video. I gotta stop doing that. Like, this is a video we were supposed to do on grudges. This is what happened. This is a visual of what holding grudges is like, guys. Like, have you ever had a rope burn before, guys, or a carpet burn? That's like the worst burn you can get. I hate paper cuts and I hate rope burns and and carpet burns, man. So just let go of the bitterness, let go of the hatred, because God wants you to soar in this life. He doesn't want you to hold on to those things and stuff like that. But just I'm going back to the visual, man, because like we got to do that other video. Did you have anything else you want to share, man, or are you good?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I feel like I was watching a bunch of stuff in preparation of this one because I just like the idea.
Yeah.
I guess I guess I'll just close up with like we have to recognize like one of the wings as well that I really liked, or one of the feathers I think, is like God had adopted us into His family as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that plays a big part into forgiving ourselves as well. Like, we have to recognize who we are. Like, we are children of God. Like, we don't need to be so hard on ourselves.
Mm.
It's again, it's so easy to be critical about yourself, but you have to remember, like, you are wonderfully made, you are wonderfully loved by God, and like, we have to see ourselves for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, I just really like that too. But like, that's a big part about being an heir of God or a child of God as well. Is like, we're still children as well. Like, we continue to grow. And I think a big part of that is we can't be, if we want to grow, if we want to really like grow in Christ, like we've mentioned this in videos before, like that's a primary purpose of us living on earth until we go to the New Jerusalem. lined out in Revelation chapter 21 is trying to become more Christ-like. And a big part of that is like letting go of that, like escaping the vicious cycle that we're pulled into. Not seeking revenge or like getting even, as our culture is really trying to spell out for us. But sometimes it just takes a bigger man to like let go and concentrate on the heavenly things in our life.
You know? Yeah, I want to talk about, let's finish off with this visual, guys. So like I told you on this side, it gives you 3 reasons why you need to forgive people. So 2 wings, six feathers, 3 feathers on this side, 3 feathers on the other side. So on this side, on the purple side, it's talking about, all God did for you before you even existed. All the ways he showed you love, forgiveness, grace, mercy, unmerited favor, you name it. Because the third reason was God was satisfied with Christ's sacrifice. Your debt was paid, right? You don't even have to pay it anymore, right? That wrong that you did to somebody else, Jesus paid the debt for that. So you don't have to pay the consequence for it if you forgive yourself and the other person forgive you. Like it's a it goes hand in hand. You guys know what I'm saying. But I want to talk about this side. This is what Justin was talking about. Like on wing 2 on this side, on these 3 feathers, it's talking about what God did for you, what God did for us during our lifetime. So God's work after you were born. And so the first wing says God brought you to faith and put you in a relationship with Christ. Like he didn't have to do that. That's the thing, guys. Like he didn't have to. You don't. At least at point 2, God adopted us and made us rightful children, right? He made you an heir to his throne. He gave you rights and privileges and things that you really don't even deserve and shouldn't even have. Like he made you, he gave you the same rights and privileges as Jesus, just about. You know what I mean? An heir to the throne. And none of us deserve that at all. With all the times we done messed up and jacked up, man. Why? Because God forgave us of all our sins. There's no condemnation, right? If God did all this for us, what do you think we're called to do for other people, right? In this life, it's all about glorifying God. It's all about being salt and light of the world. It's all about showing God to everybody that we come into contact with. Holding on to anger and being just having hatred towards people, that is not showing God's love. Ain't nobody gonna get the message of the cross, through that kind of actions. Like our attitudes, the way we present ourselves and carry ourselves, it means everything, right? So the words you say don't mean a hill of beans. So me talking right now don't mean anything. It's if I forgive the pastors that have offended me. It's if I forgive the ME church for the unorganizations and stuff, like they're not organized. Like it's you guys get what I'm saying. My ex, like that's the biggest thing too. Like I really want to talk about that. Like my ex, man, it took a long time to forgive my ex, to move on from the situation, right? Because it's a lot of reasons, but like she did me so wrong, but like it doesn't matter, right? Because I still have a life to live. God is doing a new thing in all of our lives every single day. It's a new year, new month, new day, you name it. We can't live in the past because we're not there no more, right? Just like Justin said earlier. God got new things in store for us, new mercies, new blessings. And you're going to miss out on those new blessings, the sweet fragrance of life, right? The sweet aroma. If you hold on to the wrong things and harbor in the wrong things, guys. So like, yeah, we just got to let things go, right? Sometimes good things. We got to let good things go because God got even better things for us ahead of us, right? And we got to have faith in that, right? So this is why we forgive, because forgiveness seems like pointless. It seems stupid. It seems like it's not really a benefit from it, but there is. It keeps you from living in bondage, living and staying stuck in situations that are over with. Move on from them, right? And so it's hard. It's easier said than done, and that's what we were trying to say at the very beginning of the video. Forgiveness is more than just a one-time thing, right? Every time you think about that thing, you got to choose to forgive. Forgiveness is a decision, right? It's an attitude, right? So yeah.
I like that. Oh yeah, man, I like that. It is an attitude. It's a state of mind. Like it's something that sometimes it doesn't come naturally, but you should reach a point where it just happens. Like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just like that. It is an attitude. It is something like we take into it ourselves. It's not something we should do grudgingly.
Hmm.
It should be like a state of mind eventually.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people think forgiveness is an emotion. It's a decision. It's not an emotion.
Mm,
It's not a
oh, yeah.
feeling because you're not going to feel like forgiving a lot of people. Right.
Yeah. Doesn't
Heck,
make sense to call it an emotion. Yeah, it's not an emotion. It's an
yeah.
action.
Right. And so that's what God did for us, man. So God, and that's the biggest thing I want to say too. I'm gonna end off the video, and then we're gonna go to our next video we got for you guys. Um, I want to find that perfect slide. Yeah. So one of the main points that God's trying to get us at when it comes to forgiveness, like He wants this message to be preached. Like God doesn't call us to be forgiving of others and to receive His forgiveness because He doesn't care that we've been hurt or let down, right? He does care about your feelings and the disappointments that you face in life. Like God cares, right? He calls us to forgive because all the nasty things that we hold on to will break us if we keep it, right? So all those nasty things, it will break off of us if we choose to forgive, right? And He calls us to forgive because in forgiveness is freedom, right? He wants us to be free. He wants us to be liberated. He doesn't want us
Mm.
to be shackled by anything in this life, be weighed down. And so many people are weighed down by so many things, not just with resentment and bitterness, but like with pornography or women or men, like, or riches, money, like trying to get more and more money. Like we got
Yeah,
so many gods, so many idols weighing us down. Like you got to let those things go, right? And receive
man.
the the love and the grace and the mercy and the favor and the goodness and the happiness that God can give to you, right? And so that's the whole point of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't make little of your pain, but it does make much of your God and His strength in you. And that's what the world sees. Like when you forgive other people, they see God's love, man. That partner that you're with, your wife or your husband, when they offend you, you're called to forgive them. You know how many times you gotta forgive somebody in a 90-year marriage? Right? You gotta forgive a
Yeah.
lot, right? And that's all marriage is, forgiveness. Like you're just showing God's love to your mate 24/7, 7 days a week. It's a commitment. It's not something you feel all the time. And you're gonna be in situations where you don't want to forget that person, but you're called to because God forgave you even when He didn't want to, but He always wanted to, right? No matter what, right? And that's what we're called to do: forgive others, man. So choosing to forgive is a message to the world, and that your life is worth living, and your God redeems, and greater things lie in front of you than all the junk behind you. And that's what this life is.
Mm.
This life is just passing away. And Justin said it earlier, man. There's still so much more life to live, like so much more to look up to and look forward to. But we miss out when we're eating and feasting on and worried about the junk of our past. It's junk. Move on from it. Good. And that's the thing. A lot of people live in the past because of their past glories. Like I can only imagine being Michael Jordan. I would
Oh
still live in
yeah.
the past. You know what I mean? Like my past successes. Or
Hmm.
you can live in the past, from your past failures or your past, stuff that happened to you, but you have to move on because there's more life to live, right? And so that's the whole point of the sweet fragrance of forgiving, man. When we forgive other people, man, we can smell that aroma, that goodness, that grace, that mercy, that favor that we receive from God when we just obey His commandment to forgive other people. It's a commandment, right? And we have to obey it in order to receive the breakthroughs, the victory, the peace. That's the biggest thing that comes from obeying the Lord when it comes to forgiving those who have trespassed against you, right?
Mm.
So yeah, man, that's the video, guys. Justin, you good?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, guys, you know the drill. Make sure to go to our social media pages. All right, I'm not going to name them, but here goes all my social media pages. I have the most amazing social media pages in the world. It's only getting better. I got way more stuff coming for you guys because, yeah, God has been making provisions for me, helping me to be so diligent with it that I can just flush out content. So here goes all my social media pages. All right, and like I said, you guys got to watch this video, man. I did this video. This is the first video I did on that visual that I showed to you guys. Earlier in the video, that visual. All right. And then this is my YouTube channel again, Uplift past Crossroads. Right. And then I started a new playlist uh, about forgiveness that relates with this video and the other videos me and Justin are going to do on forgiveness. So this is the playlist. It's just titled, forgive them, bitterness, resentment. Just type in anything like that on my YouTube channel and you'll see it. And then here goes Justin's social media pages as well. Here goes his YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel, turn on the post notifications so you know when he uploads another video. Like, comment, and share all his videos as well. And then here goes his Facebook page. So if you have any questions, you can DM him and me on our Facebook pages, and we'll answer your questions. We'll do a video on your questions that you ask. So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys in a minute. Thanks for tuning in, especially if you watched all the way through. And make sure to share this video if you think it blessed you and you know it's going to bless others. So thanks for all your support. Talk to you later. Peace.